Hey, we're doing it. Let's do it to it. And we're gonna go on through it. Puzzle rush time. Excuse me, a little cough there. Let's do it. Let's see, night takes. That one's a piece. Let's see here. Here we go. This wins a piece. Okay, knight check. This wins a piece. This is mate. Check, check. Checkmate. Okay, let's see here. So rook takes g6, h takes g6, queen takes g6, rook g7. Oh, it's mate actually after pawn takes queen h8 is mate. Knight f5 wins the rook. Okay, so it's the check. So if we check, that's mate. Let me see here. Okay, so rook takes. That wins a bishop. This wins a queen. This wins a knight. Oh, doesn't. I guess it doesn't win a knight. Okay, rotates check. Then we win the bishop. So pawn takes. If well, let's see. Actually, push. Then rook takes. Check. Checkmate. Let me see here. Bishop wins a knight. Let's see here. Okay, queen takes. Alrighty. Knight. Sorry. King there. King g6. King g there. Takes. This is mate. Check. Let's see, is there any let me see. Check on b7. The king goes d6. Actually, I think, let's see, check here. It's here. There we go. Let's see, rook takes, pawn takes, bishop takes. No. Let's see. Is there a fork? See there. Bishop takes e5. Queen takes e5. No, that doesn't work. Drat. Couldn't find sort my way through that one. Let's take a look to see where we missed this one. Nope. So it's not that. Not there. We just win a piece. Okay. I missed that. Okay, let's check this one here. Sometimes I overthink them. I'm thinking it's, okay. There we go. Pin the piece. It's a battery plus a pass pawn skewer trap in X-ray. Okay. Let's give it another go. We're getting warmed up. Getting everything warmed up. Getting our gray matter warmed up. Check. Come on. Check. Checkmate. Come on. Let's see, takes, knight takes, check. Do we win anything? Let me see here. Rotate g3, knight takes g3, rotate g3. Any checks? I think we win a piece, so it's fine there. Let's win this here. No wasting time. Check. Pawn takes there and mate. No wasting time. Check. Win a piece. Don't waste any more time than we have to. Check. Checkmate. Check. Checkmate. That wins a piece. Let me see here. Takes, win a piece. Rook takes, wins a rook in the end. Okay. So rook pins, rook takes, pawn takes, king takes, and then we actually we win. So check, checkmate. So he's threatening mate, so we have to, oh boy, let me see here. Let's see if we play queen takes, rook, queen takes c7, king e1, check, king there. I think we're okay to take the rook. Oh, so we're not okay to take the rook. Oh, right, this is mate. Oops, missed that one. Drat. Okay, we gotta take this here. Okay, let's see. If we move here, there's a check there. We intercept with the rook, and I don't think there's really anything else that he can do. So take there, and then that's mate. Let me see here. So if we take here, the knight's under attack. We're threatening mate, and so we can actually bring the rook down and check, win a piece. Let me see here. Check, and if he comes over here, then we have nope. We have to make sure we threaten mate. So check here, check. He comes there, check. Okay, this is serious. Let me see. Okay. That was a tough one. Let me see here. We'll do one last one, and then we'll get into it. Whatever it is, remember this is all about improving. So you can't take there. So just you have to always stay on task. What am I not seeing here? Is queen B? No. Let's see. Oh, it's mate. I didn't see that. Snap. So mate there, okay. I was too, I didn't do the full board vision on that one. Okay, let's see here. So that's not right. Let's see, what are we, is it something to do with that? Hold on, let me see, what am I, oh, it's check, okay. So it's this over here, let's try it again. Okay, so that was that one. Let's do the last one, then we'll do one more. Because you need to go over these, there's reasons that you miss them. You have to figure out. So that's not it. Is it that? That's not it either. Ah, drat, how did I miss that mate? I think it's time pressure. I need to just relax, get over the time pressure issue. Okay, so that's mate. Win a piece. Checkmate. That wins a piece. That mates. Let me see. Check. Check here. Mate. You win a rook. Actually, I think we win a rook via this way. Check, check, checkmate, back rank mate. Queen takes bishop, queen there. Let me see, so check with the bishop. And then if you, nope, we gotta play bishop, queen takes. Then we check here, and then we checkmate. Okay, queen check here, pawn intercepts, and then we mate. Knight takes first, and then we win a bishop. Okay. And then that's mate. Okay. That wins a queen. Let me see. So queen check. Check. King up there. Knight there. Okay. Okay. Bishop takes. If the knight checks, rotates. So double check. That was mate. Let's see here. And that's mate. So, bishop, queen checks. King there. No, bishop checks. Light squared, potential. Oh yeah, that one's a queen, sorry. I almost missed that. Knight actually takes here. Takes. No. Let me see. Queen takes. If rook takes, king takes. No. Let me see. Bummer. Trying to figure this out. Let me see if we play knight c2 check. Oh, this is mate. Oh, what am I talking about? I almost missed mate there. I gotta speed up a little bit, get some of this attack rolling. Let's see, check. We can actually play rook d7, attack the bishop. I wasn't sure about that one. It's probably a cincher, but I just missed it. Oops, I should have taken. Let's see. Takes, king there. Okay, let's see what did I do wrong, and then we'll get on to our opening. So that's it. You forced the king off the board. Okay. Hey, you know what? You gotta learn things. You know what I mean? You gotta continue sometimes to just keep going over. And then the reason you take is that your queen would check. I missed that one. And then this one here. So you take, and then when he comes here, if he moves like here, you come up and you queen. The other way, it's a draw so it wouldn't work. So now we got to go to our studies now. Get on it. We did 3 puzzle rushes. We'll improve. The more you do, the better you get. So we'll look back on it and laugh at the, you know, when we're like, oh, we had 20, now we're up to like 40. So you know what I mean. You gotta always remember where you came from, so that you're not doomed to repeat it. Okay. Let us see, what do we got here that we're gonna work on? Okay, dokie. Alrighty then. Alrighty, let's do it. Let's do it to it. So e4, e6, d4. This is the first standard moves. Then you have knight c3, bishop e4, a5, a3. White is willing to exploit a tempo with bishop takes, pawn takes, and then e takes. And this move doesn't actually win a pawn, since white regains it, and it regains it on the next move with a double attack. Queen g5. One second. I gotta go back really quick and make sure we enlarge this. Just take a look really fast. I'll be right back. I have to check something out. Hold on. Okay. Let's get back into this. So this wins back a pawn. So regains the pawn sacrifice. Knight f6. Queen takes G, rook G, and Queen h6. Knight B, d7. Black leaves g6 in reserve. You could, in theory, play g6, but it's left in reserve. So this is actually what's played. Knight e2, with the idea of playing knight to g3. It puts a damper on black's power along the g file. It kind of blunts it a little bit. So white goes c5 to try to blast the center open. B6 is played more often. B6 to try to fianchetto to get after this or potentially maybe pin and win the bishop. Bishop knight g3, bishop b7, bishop b2, and then c5 at this point is considered to be a position where black acquires dynamic equality. So g3. Don't you hate it when you drive a single lane road and the car ahead of you basically obstructs? What he's trying to say here is when there's been, like, if you have a slow moving car, let's say it's hauling, you know, one of those huge, maybe half of a house that they're putting together, and they have to take it nice and slow, and you want to be there on time, you know, to something, and you're like, man, if only I would have left sooner, I would have been able to have basically done, I would have not had to been behind this slow vehicle. This kind of put the knight on g3, makes it so that it kind of makes black's idea of a kingside attack less desirable. And that's kind of the idea. It blocks the g2 square, which obstructs the rook's attack on g2. So that's what he's trying to say. Oops, let me make sure I have this right. Yep, there we go. So knight to actually queen a5. This still takes scope. So black just says, you know what? Okay, you shut down one file, my friend. The knight covers the this knight, which the knight covers the rook, which covers the pawn. Excuse me. So this queen is now attacking c3, so the queen goes, I can now roam free, looking for targets to attack. And that's where queen a5 actually comes into the idea. Bishop d2 stops the attack. Queen a4 was actually a slight dubious move here. There's really no need for that, because there's some lines where if the pawn gets pushed here, the queen can actually drop back to c7 and then be in a pretty good shape once the pawns trade. After the queen trades, then the queen would be attacking this pawn and that and this pawn at the same time. So a lot of lines. Let me see here. Don't fall behind in development in the opening position. This move is based on the psychology. Those who basically do the laws may also be able to, Ginger talked about that on one of his recent recordings, that if you know the law, the opening so well, sometimes you're able to even break the opening rules. But in this scenario where Winier is basically theoretical, the Winier French, you can't fall behind in the opening. You have to constantly have development, because you're going down a theoretical line at that point. And he says that's why the correct move here, instead of a4, b6 is actually the correct thematic move, because you're thinking to yourself, wait a second, can't your opponent just play c4? Yeah, but now you can actually play queen a4 with the idea of having your bishop to be fianchettoed along g2, because potentially what's going to happen is you may have to sacrifice this pawn when the bishop's here, and if that bishop comes here, now if white's bishop comes to e2, you get your bishop to b2 or b7, and let's say somehow he plays a rook just without thinking, you have e4 that, or e3 that you can play, and if the queen comes back and takes, now you can take the g2 pawn, which makes castling very dangerous and impossible for white. So you have to always remember move sequences are important. They're really important when it comes to the opening. It's not the remember, you can sometimes make mistakes in the opening and recover in the middle game, but you can't unless your opponent really badly blunders in the end game. You can't recover in the end game unless you know what you're doing and your opponent doesn't. So just remember, end game is vital. Take your time. Make sure you have enough time for your end game. And whatever you do, slow down and calculate in the end game. Okay, C takes D, or D takes C. Queen E3 was actually a considered to be a better move for white here, because then Queen takes C2, Rook C1, A4, and then Knight takes E4. White is favorable here because of the king side for black's wrecked, and black doesn't really have a side to castle on. But with taking here, it actually makes a 3-pawn isolated pawns islands, and so it's horrible. It's a horrible position. So queen takes C2 with a grab of a pawn and a waste of time certainly acquires a shift in the weather of the position. Like the weather, if you were outside and you felt that the wind was picking up and you kind of were in a area that's known maybe for, we'll just say tornadoes or something like that, you know that you have to get to a safe spot. Sometimes grabbing a pawn on C2 would end up causing a shift in the weather of the position. And what that may do is cause you to lose the initiative and maybe even set up for your opponent to develop better. So you got to ask yourself, why is my opponent gambiting a pawn? Is he gambiting a pawn because he's doing it for positional counterplay? Or is my opponent giving me a pawn because they want to maybe free up a piece or something? Or is it sometimes just a plain old blunder? And if it's a plain old blunder and you've checked it, by all means grab the pawn, but just make sure you don't fall behind in development. That's kind of what the authors alluded to here. Don't fall behind in development. I know I emphasize that a lot. Bishop b5, which is actually a dubious move here. The idea is it makes sense in human moves. What you're trying to do is pin this knight and say to black, I can now win your knight because you can't take back because of this pin. Excuse me, that was a hiccup. So best at this point would have been queen to e3 here. Okay, queen e3. Rook g6, because remember we held that in reserve. Queen oh, not e3, I'm sorry. It's actually queen e2, rook g, queen there, but queen e2 is actually an exclam move. This was the exclam move, because what you're doing is white's getting ready to castle kingside. Excuse me. Queen takes c3, bishop takes c3. Uh-oh. I knew there was a problem here. This didn't make sense. So knight e5. Castle kingside. White's developmental lead in bishop here in the open position gives him a clear advantage. So b2 was actually oops, not here. Sorry. Here bishop. Queen b2 was actually played here. Bishop takes. White miscalculates, grounds to a painful conclusion. He is forced to return the bishop pair. So bishop takes. A castle kingside. Taken. Wait a second. Just grab this here. You get a check, and if the king would have to come up, and then now you can actually pick up a pawn, and so you're up in exchange. That's why castles was forced. Rook g6 to attack the queen and protect the knight. Bishop e3. Bishop c6 to cover the pawn and prepare for queenside castling to attack the bishop twice. c4. Castle queenside is actually a dubious move. So they dubious moved each other. Dubious move, dubious move. Knight 4 would have actually been slightly more advantageous, or more of a power move, because queen c3, queen c3, queen takes c3, bishop takes c3, and black castle queenside. Black has a better ending due to white's isolated, crippled queenside pawns. So castles. Bishop c3, queen c2, a c8, queen d3, queen e5, knight e5. A second. Sorry, knight g4, that's what I mean. That's a sclam move. Queen f4, knight takes the bishops. At long last, I put my dark squares to the right usage. Queen takes e, f5. Rook c3. That was a mistake on his opponent's part. This is a path to defeat. Better is rook cd1. Takes, rotates, rotates, knight intercepts. Had to be tried. This is white's best attempt. This is a losing move here. Queen d2, e3, queen d4, exclam. Highest is the queen in a bold conversation. Opening gambit. Black removed white's only active piece, and the ending is lost for white. Queen takes. Rook takes. Rook c3. Rook d2. Rook e1. e3. C takes e3. f4. Takes e2. Takes. Knight takes. Rook takes g check. King takes. King f1. a5. I should play. He should have played rook takes h2 slam, which sets up for a pass pawn. Knight takes h4. Bishop f3, which this threatens mate now. Exclam. Knight e2. Bishop g2 check. This is an interesting move. It actually wins a rook here, because after takes the rook falls, and you're winning. Knight c3. Okay, chair, knight rotates h4, exclam. Excuse me. f3. h1 check. King e2. King takes. Knight d3. d7. f6 check. King e7. Exclam. h4. King takes f9 h4. King takes f7. I mean, not king. Knight takes f7. Bishop takes f3. Bishop c6. Yeah, 3. And we're gonna go to back to king to e1 before king e1. If you were wondering about king e6, that's actually a mistake here, because of knight takes. Bishop takes f3 at this point, and knight g5, which is a fork, and you lose a piece. So at this point here, I have always found a3 to be dangerous and not attention in the position. Lion white forces the opening of the game with the bishop here. Black must rely on developmental lead to counterbalance white's bishop pair. let's do an endgames with Magnus. Oops, I should do board editor. Alrighty, let's get this rocking and rolling. It's black to move to, so I don't forget I'm going to make it black to move. Okay. There we go. Let's do the rooks. Queen there. How many bishops? 2. Just want to make sure I have this right. Yep. Yep. Still good so far. Still good. And good. Make it into a study. Black to move. Oh, okay. Magnus played knight d4. Exclaim at this point. Queen d1. Knight e2. Queen takes. Bishop takes e4. Interesting move by Magnus. And you're probably wondering, why not just take the queen here, right? Well, you take there, king comes up, and then you take here, and king takes, and it's about equal at this point. That's why they didn't play that. Magnus chose knight against bishop. The position the position remains equal, but it will be easier to go wrong for white. Bishop takes e4. Bishop takes b2. Rook takes b2. And then b5. He's trying to trade down. Instead, he could have played d5 here. Bishop f3. D takes C, queen takes C, and rook B C1. So that when that opens up, kaboom. Would give balanced position and chances for both sides at this point. This position would have. But Magnus wasn't an aggressive player, so he went boom B5. C takes B5, D5 to cause some chaos in the position. But if white didn't want to go down that line, white could have played bishop G2, B takes C, C takes B, B takes C, queen takes C, rook D C1 or C8, rook F B, rook F B1 would be equal, such as C takes B, or D4 or D5 would be about equal. So D5 for black. Black's pawn chain restricts the bishop quite well. Bishop C2. Queen takes B5. Queen takes B5. Rook takes B5. If bishop G2, then rook takes B5 would be played, and the bishop would be passive on the diagonal, although the position would still be even. Still would be passive though. So after rook takes, black's pawn has some pressure against B4. So bishop to D3, rook B6, he wants to keep the pressure tight. C1. Carlsen keeps the position close with C4, and the knight may turn out to be stronger than the bishop. Bishop E2. Rook A6. Wait a second. Oh, I'm sorry. I made a massive mistake here. Right there, there, and there. Ah, perfect. Okay. A6 to go after the pawn. Rook C3. Dubious move, because that locks in the rook, and now one of the rooks is on babysitting duty. Rook A2 would have actually been more of a it would have left the C rook to be more active, but now that the C rook is on E3, the rook on the second rank is passive as well. So A2 is actually an exclam move for the rook. It's a really good move. And knight C5 or F5. G4. Knight D6, trying to outpost. D3. The position would be equal at this point. Here, knight to F5 is an exclam move here. This is an exclam for Magnus. Magnus started improving his knight. White can't just wait. The D3 is actually dubious here. It's like, why did you put your rook there to begin with if you're just gonna open it up like that? Lai wants to remove the grip extreme pressure over his position. What he should have played here was again would have actually been a well planned out idea. Rook d knight d6. d3 is okay at this time. Knight to b5. Rook c1. Could white could live with this small disadvantage. Oops, sorry about that. Hold on. I want to make sure I did this right. A6. A5. C1. A takes. It takes. And knight takes. C takes. Takes. C3. And then D2, rook D2. The whole idea, if you were wondering why didn't the bishop take, rook C8 is a puzzle rush idea, and there's no way to really get out of this, because even if you played here, you have knight takes C4. If the king tries to approach, you have knight D. I probably would play not knight D6. I'd play knight B6, which is protected by a pawn and all that. So that's the idea. So D3 was dubious. Knight takes C4, or E3. D. Knight takes bishop takes C3. Takes. The dust has settled. Black won a pawn, but it will not be easy to convert it to a win. B5. Tries to start forcing the matter by swapping off queenside pawns. King to F2 would have certainly been centralizing the king would have been a better idea. King G7, King E2, King F6, Rook D2, Rook D3, oops, sorry, it's not Rook D3, silly me. It's Rook C8 is an idea, Rook D5, Rook takes D2 check. So let's go over Rook C8 first. Rook to D7 would be played. Now let's go over D there. So Rook takes, pawn takes, of course. King E3. And the stronger king on D4 gives drawing chances. Okay, let's try the next taking here. King takes, E5, take c4, rotate c3, check, rook c6, king f5, and rook c7. White is not at all finished at this point, but b5 really sets a problem ahead for black, for white. Rook a okay, 5 allows black to change all the queenside pawns he could have instead of defended with c4 by rook a4. Now then rook 4, rotates b4, takes b4, king f2, g7, king e2, king f6, king d2, king f5, and black should win. b6, a takes b, rook takes b. Hey, how you doing? Good play. Okay, how you doing? d1 check. King g2, and then rook d2 check. King h3, and then rook a5 to try to set up a mating idea, potentially. g4, h5, g5. Black wins after rook h4. Sorry, not rook a5. Sorry, rook d4. That's what I mean, to take the pawn. He also wins after e5. That wins. There's actually one line. That's good. There's one line that's still good. Come on. Why is my computer? For king here. There we go. To white certainly centralizes its king before he seeks to swap queenside pawns. This is actually the best maneuver for white. King g7. Rotates c4. Oops, sorry, I was not the wrong spot. Well, that's funny. Wrong. I knew this looked kind of odd. King f there. Okay, there. b6. A takes. B takes. da to actually win. c6. Takes. There we go. Oops, wrong. That's funny. He did the wrong rook again. He did rook 6 takes c4. There's no need to actually do that because of the pin. Nice. So b4, rook b4 is actually a mistake here. Line wants to take the c pawn with the wrong rook. The rook stands well on the second rank. Taking the other rook would have reduced the pawn, and white would hold on for a long while. So if rook takes c4 exclam, this would have held for this would have held basically. b6 takes c to b4 as an exclam move because they're going to pick this up. Bishop d6, bishop takes b3, boom, boom. a2, rook a2, h4, and then king g, and then bishop b5. Deprives white's sideline king, and black can't make any progress. Such a position against Gasper Matthew was not able to win in this position. So there was a player that he actually played. The author must have played a position similar to this, and his opponent wasn't able to win it. So he must have set up for it. Rook b4, rook d3, b takes if rook oh, my bad there. Sorry. If takes here, takes rook b3, d2, rook d3, rook takes b, rook takes, and then bishop, rook b3. An extra pawn, more activity gives after rook gives winning chances. Rook d1 check, exclam. Black Carlsen keeps the pair of rooks on the board. His decision is justified because Elias king is more open. King g2. He actually made a dubious move by taking here. I don't blame him, but it's still a dubious move. King d2 check, it would be an exclam setup here. h3, and then now you can take b5, and now you have a almost mating type of setup. You potentially could check and maybe get some attack going. Black will win the h-pawn after checking here, king there, and then you pick up the h-pawn. But b5, rook to c7 at this point. White should control the second rank, try to, with rook to here. This is actually a much better exclam move. He could have then what black would play would be a5, and after a5 rook c7, so he controls the second and the seventh rank white. Rook a1, we're trying to win this pawn on a3. rook e7 here, exclam, because what we're willing to do is give up this pawn to double on the 7th rank. Rook g7, and then rook c7. Rook a2 check, f3, f5, and rook takes a7. Rook c hold on, let me see. Oops. I want to make sure I have this right. 7, rook a1, 7. Rook c. Oh, a6. c8 check. So I gotta promote this. G there. See, now we got it. Rook takes e6. a2 check. King f3. Takes check. Rook e3. Actually, rook e3, yeah. And black would continue to pressure the position after takes. So I gotta delete this. This is the proper line. So f7. Okay, so we have d2 check. King f3. And then a5. Rook takes h2, and then takes here. Pawn majorities on the king. There's a majority on the king side. It should be enough to win for black. Rook to a7. And then h5 exclam. So Magnus is now playing on both sides of the board in the endgame. If you were thinking taking here, this is actually a mistake. Yeah, so rook c, c2. Yeah, what they're saying is make room for the king. What is the idea of a5? Well, a5 is to, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was to defend the pawn so that it wouldn't be taken, and also keep his rook as active as he can, because if doubles up like this, the rook wants to be able to go to f5 and at the same time be protecting the pawn here and protecting the pawn on f7. I believe that's kind of what Magnus's idea might have been, was to protect these 2 points at one time. But that might overload the pieces. So f7. Oops. The f7 pawn will fall. So king f5. g4. Rook f6. Double question mark blunder. g5, f5. Rook to c8. Exclam. Really good move. King g7 is forced. And then rook a c8. Oops. Sorry, this is actually mate. And black is caught in a mating net, because if he tries something like this, check, check, and then checkmate. So he's caught in that web. So managed played h5. This gives room to the king, so that if they try to double up on c7, that he has a spot to flee to. a4, b d5, rook c8, check, f6. You mean back here? f6, I think it's a back rank mate. I think it leads to back rank mate at that point. Because if you played here, check, and check. Yeah. So his best opportunity was h5. c8 check, king g. Now c7, rook f5. Yeah. Yeah, that would be the fact for sure. Rook a6. Now rook takes h2, rook takes e6, rook a2, trying to win the pawn, and rook e4 to hold on to the pawn. Now black has a couple ideas. He's got f6. Oops. f6, and then rook a3 check. I think those are the only two lines. So we'll take a look at f6 first. c5, rook c5, rook a3 check, king g2, rook d6. Black's trying to mate the king. Takes a5. d2 check, king f1, g takes 3, and black wins. He's got more connected pass pawns. So now rook a3, king f2, rook f6, king g2, e3, or e7, a2 check, king h3, f6, rook f6, e5, rook e5, rook takes a4, rook a7, rook f5. Black keeps the 2 pawns, because if he takes here or here, it loses. This is a really cool actually maneuver, because if you take here, that loses. If you take here, you still hold on to the 2 pawns. And if you take here, you actually can take like that. So there's 3 different ways that you can you still win. So h3 was a mistake. Rook to d3 check, king g2, h4 exclam by Magnus. Magnus breaks up white's pawn chain and wins more material by h4. G takes h4, rook d4. Now we're attacking both these pawns. King g3, rook takes a4, so he's got a passer now. Rook e3, rook c3, f4, rook takes a5, rook takes h4, and then because we don't want to take right now, why not grab a pawn, and if he takes, then we take, and we're 2 pawns up. We have actually 2 passed connected pawns, which is a totally dominating idea. Rook a c5, rook h5, rook takes h5, g takes h5, rook b3, let me see here, e5, king e3, a2, rook a2. Keep the rooks active. King d3, rook g2, and trying to win the king win the rook by a skewer like that is the idea. Actually, pretty nifty idea by Magnus. Rook b1, g3 check, king c4. It's about time. Wait a second, did I miss a move somewhere here? me make sure. So B3. Okay, G takes B3. Ah, I did miss one. King G6. King C. H4. F3. That I missed a couple moves. That's funny. King F5. E5. King E3. Now we're in the right ballpark. I must have missed a whole line. King D3. Rook D2. Rook B1. Oops, B2. No mouse slips. Rook B2 1. Check. King G3. King C4. Rook takes H3. King D5. Yeah, 3 check. That is simply a superiority position where his knight was likely to be stronger than his opponent's bishop. Later, he correctly judged that his 2 rooks would be stronger than Lai's 2 rooks. Okay. So, do you have, you said you had a game that you wanted to go over? Or we could go over some puzzles if you don't have the game. We could still go over some puzzles. Okay, I'll get the puzzles set up for us. And then when, if you have a game you want to go over, you can actually put it in. But I'll get the... Oh, okay. Then we don't have to go over it. That's okay. Then we'll just do some puzzles. Not a problem. Just always remember to study your endgame. I mean, study your endgames and study your to make sure that your position where you went awry, because there's a spot in the game where your position might have gone awry. So just study that and see where you can improve. Wait, mate 2. Excuse me. Yep. Got it. Yeah, just a little bit. 9:15. um, PM, sorry, 9:15 p.m. The hardest thing to do is to go over your losses, but it will help you improve as a chess player, because you'll get better by finding out where you made a mistake, and you only learn from mistakes. So there we go. Yeah, PST. Okay, white to move. Hold on. Two. Just want to make sure I got all this put in right. There's a lot of pieces all over the place, so I want to make sure I got it right. Actually, try that one more time. That might work too. I think there's two mates. Let me see if this one actually works. Yeah, that works. Okay, so that one does work. Let's see about this here. Oh, snap. I missed that. Oh, check. Drat. Nice find there. Drat. That doesn't work. I missed the king was in the checking zone. Ouch. Oh, no, don't do anything. Good. Let's make sure that's right. Yep. Uh-oh. Sorry, 1 second. I have the queen in the wrong spot. Sorry. Hold on. There we go. Now we're spot on. There's actually two mates here. Two checkmating move sequences. There's two checkmating move sequences. Ftaste G. Actually, I think there's 3 if I'm not mistaken. Here, there's that's mate. Here, that's mate. Nope, there's only 2. Sorry, only 2. Actually, 3. There are 3. Sorry, the Ftaste G in there. So H5's mate. We're going to do 2 more, and then I'm gonna call it a day. Like what you're saying, I'm a tiny bit tired today. Yeah. Yep. There's 3 mates. You got it. Excuse me. Just yawn. White to mate 2. Great find there. One more time. One more. Let's see if we're 100% for 100. Let's do it to it. There you go. This is the last one, so I'll mark it onto the next page. we go. Make sure that I set it up right. Just hold on. Just let me make sure I set this up right. Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yep, good job. Okay, do you have any questions before I log off? Alright. Great job, team, on all the puzzle solving. You know what you have to do is remember that, you know what, you gotta put in the time. Sometimes even if you feel kind of tired, you still gotta put in some time. And remember to always honor the Lord with the talents that you have, and ask Him to help you. And you know what, ask the Holy Spirit to teach you, because it's, as it is written, it says that He'll teach you all things, but you have to be willing to listen. That's why Bruce Lee says that you have to be willing when the Holy Spirit says that you need to know something. Just dive in there and make sure that what you're doing is you take what you have, and then and then you apply it. Then you gotta be willing to do something with it. And it's not like you're gonna get it the very first time. Sometimes I know some students that are very blessed, and some people that are very blessed that they can just pick up something like that. But to those who are, you have to learn like Alakine and put in the work. You know what? Just keep going through it. Keep doing it. You can do it. You know what? You know we all learn at different speeds and different levels. So you know what? Just don't give up. Whatever you do, don't give up. If you fall down, like with a loss, you knuckle down and get right back up. Remember that every long journey begins with one small step. Also, remember that you have to bring your Grandmaster glasses to the over the board, OTB. And remember that plateaus are just part of life. It's going to happen, and you need to not be happy at the plateau, but just remember, plateau is just for a while. If you study and keep your studies regular every day, just keep it happening, you'll see an improvement. It just takes time. And you just have to be okay with that you're going to make mistakes the first time you do something. There's only one perfect. There's nobody perfect alive right now. So, and if that's the case, and we all make mistakes, then that's the only way you can learn from them. Remember to treasure your victories, because those do happen. Treasure them, but remember that mistakes. Remember to treasure your victories and learn from your losses. Treasure your victories and learn from your losses. Remember that mistakes do not define you. They don't define you. It's how you handle the mistake. Do you take the mistake and do you learn from it? Then that's a perfect way of doing it. If you take the mistake and then take it that you're the reason that the mistake happened, yeah, you know what, we all move sometimes the pieces incorrectly and make mistakes. How can I improve next time in that opening, or in that middle game, or in that end game? How can I improve? And that's always a good way of looking at it. And remember what Bruce Lee said, that he didn't fear the person who practiced, 10,000 individual kicks, but he feared the person who practiced one kick 10,000 times. So, like, if you have a favorite opening that you really like, like the French or the London or any one of those. Learn that opening, look at the patterns into the middle game, and look at the pawn structure into the end game, and learn that, so that when you get it played on you, if your opponent strays from the main line or whatever line of the London or the French, then you'll know that they erred, and that there's a tactic looming in the position, maybe 3 or 4 moves down the road, and then you take advantage of that, set up for that, and kaboom, you win material. Well, great job, and remember, we always have to do the we don't always have to, but we do, because we're chess crunchers. We hang up our coat, we hang up our hat, we sit down and study when most won't. Chess crunchers do, and that makes all the difference. And as Wesley So says through the Lord Jesus, as I say, God bless. And I'll see you next time on Chess Cruncher TV. Have a blessed morning, afternoon, and evening. And Lord willing, I'll be back on tomorrow. And we'll continue to keep going over our French defense. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go over some more of Magnus's endgames. So we're going to do some more puzzles. And then what we're going to have to do once we get done with the French defense, we'll have to do some more of Jeremy Silman's endgame. We'll have to pull up some of the games, some of the endgame studies, and just go over those and have a little bit of fun too as a refresher. Great job. 2 thumbs up. Go Team Chess Cruncher. Hoorah. Be blessed. Excuse me. That was a hiccup. And remember though, Hannibal Smith said a great plan is one where you're dictating the plan, and you're actually directing it, and you know what your opponent's going to do, and you base your plan around, actually make them base their plan around your plan. And that's where forcing moves come into play. So again, great job. Go Team Chess Cruncher. Hoorah. Always remember to honor the Lord Jesus and receive him as always, and listen to the Holy Spirit when he's teaching you. So 2 thumbs up. Hoorah. Be blessed, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.